Hey everybody, Steve here from The Buried Life, and today we're enjoying the morning latte. And yeah, it is morning here in Korea, so I decided to do a video, and we're going to talk about, as you can see from the title, the top 10 websites for STL files for whether you have an FDM printer or a resin printer. Now, there's a lot of things that you can print with these printers. They can be functional, they can be prototypes, they can be artsy-fartsy types of things, they can be miniatures, models, figures, replicas of firearms and cars, trucks, pretty much anything that you can think of can be printed out on one of these printers, or both. With that said, a lot of people have asked me, where do I find these files? Now, these files are called STL files. And normally, I think it's like stereolithographic something or other, but it's an STL. And there's a lot of places that you can get files. I know there's Patreon groups and so on and so forth that you can subscribe, have a monthly subscription, and these artists will produce and make some incredible models, and that's an option. But if you're just dipping your toe into the world of FDM and resin printing, then you might want to look at some free resources to get you started on your resin or FDM printing journey. So we're going to go over the top 10 that I have found. Now, these are my top 10. It might not be other people's top 10, but if you know of other websites that kind of show STL files and are great resources that you think are really good, put them in the comments down below. All right, so we're going to start off, and the first one we're going to take a look at is Yegi. Yegi is a pretty nice site. It's got 3D models and so on and so forth, and everything's from figures to artsy to functional items. Pretty much anything that you want to print, you can find it there. And there's just a variety of different things. Modular hobby paint rack. That's kind of interesting. And it'll show you, like where it says there, download for sale. Website is Cults 3D, Thingiverse. So this is a great way not only to find the items that you're looking for, but to also find different websites that you could check them out on their own. So Yegi turns out pretty good. There's paid and free versions and so on and so forth. The next one we're going to take a look at is GameBody or Gambody, 3D printing. And yeah, they've got a loyalty thing here. I'm not sure why this is here. Printing articles, marketplace, print designs. Now, these are some of the higher end STL files, and some of these are open source, some of these are free, some of these are obviously for sale, and they're kind of, look at the Iron Man and stuff like that. There's some really incredible work, and you're going to pay some money for these. But with that being said, it's a great way to, find some great files, and everything from Star Wars, Star Trek. There's the Mandalorian we got there. Of course, that's not the Mandalorian I got, but I almost got that one. But there's just so many things that you could search and print out. Alien, xenomorph, kind of like the alien dudes and all that stuff. So Gambody is pretty good. And you're going to pay some money, but for the most part, let's go to stock and see what they have for stock. You can see the prices get a little bit better and goes down in price. But again, still a great resource for models. And you're going to pay some money, and there are some really, really good models on that. Next one we're going to take a look at is Maker's World. Maker's World is pretty good, and they have a variety of products, toys, models. You see that House of Atreides ornithopter from the movie Dune and Dune 2. Just some pretty cool printed stuff. That suspended tie interceptor, that looks kind of cool. I mean, that prints out on an FDM printer. And then you can add the LED lights, and it's suspended there. That just looks really, really cool. And, oh yeah, there's another one, a book. Ooh, that's kind of cool. It's got the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing. Man, that looks cool. So a lot of these things, you can find some pretty cool stuff on Maker's World. So that's another place. And it'll show you off on the right-hand side here where it says, you know, multicolor, 0.2 millimeter layers, 2 walls, like the P1P, P1X, X1, X1 carbon, X1E, A1, and pretty much bamboo, bamboo Maker World. But yeah, it's pretty good. And they have a lot of users on there. They have 3D models, they have contests, they have the bamboo store, and so on and so forth. So pretty impressive stuff. Just another great resource that you can join and get some models. The next one is going to be Thangs. Thangs, put that twang in that thang. Photos Mint, Dragon Moon Bust, and again, a lot of these are figures, and you have just a lot of cool things. So if you're into, you know, the little Groku guy, I'm actually painting that guy up right now. Not that one specifically, but a model I printed out. And yeah, this is a great resource as well for functional things, artsy-fartsy, and so on and so forth. So let's say, let's put Star Wars and see what pops up on here. So you got helmets, Millennium Falcon, walkers, TIE fighters, Mandalorian fan art. This is the one that I printed out, which is, yeah, downloaded the model, printed it out on my resin printer, and there is the Mandalorian with Grogu, and I'm painting up. I finished the base. I'm almost done with Grogu, and the next step is going to be painting that. But yeah, pretty impressive what you can get, and that one was for free. So yeah, you can. There's a lot of different things that you can get. The Rancor, Flat Baby Yoda, Darth Vader. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. Ooh, that looks kind of cool. It's so-so. So anyway, yeah, there's just tons of stuff that you can print out. The next site we're going to take a look at is Thingiverse. Thingiverse is pretty cool because it has a lot of functional items that people make and put on to Thingiverse, and games, table legs, shells, functional items, arts, crafts, you know, benchy battleship. That's kind of cool. So this is another great way to look for, let's see. We did Star Wars. Let's see. World of Warcraft. Let's see if that pops up anything. Dun, 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 dun. And there we have World of Warcraft. So for those of you who are into World of Warcraft or anything like that, yeah, you can come up with some pretty cool STL files. And what's another good thing we could do? Dragons. Dragon. Of course, you got to spell it right. What are the odds? So, little cool stuff, articulating dragons, you know, dragon skulls, so on and so forth. Yeah, just some pretty cool stuff. The next one we're going to take a look at is this one here, which is My Mini Factory. My Mini Factory is really nice because, as the name implies, it deals with miniatures. And so you'll get a number of different types of products. So let's say... And it's got a lot of advertising. That's the only thing I don't like about it. But as you can see, it's got some pretty cool stuff here. Let's do a dragon. Let's see what it comes up for dragons. There we go. And there it's got some pretty cool dragons. And yeah, articulating dragons, regular dragons. So yeah, just another place where you can get some pretty cool stuff. That looks pretty cool over there, and the prices aren't bad. It's like $5, $12, $13, and the artists. A lot of the money goes to the artist. Of course, some goes to the website as well. But again, if you're looking for free stuff, you can also find free stuff on here as well. Next one we're going to take a look at is CG Trader. CG Trader is more of the high end. So like, let's see, let's just put Marvel. And what you'll end up with is that there. So you have stuff like the Hulk, Mantis, the old Wolverine, Hulk, Iron Man Mark 44. I mean, you can see, and these are high end models, and a lot of them, have the prices like 1750 or whatever it is, and then they'll have reductions in price. These are more for the paid, really really nice models and figures that you could print out. Like there's the Hulk. I think I'm going to get one of those one of these days, because that's just kind of cool. The Hulk is the man. But again, if you're into figures and stuff like this, definitely this is the way to go. And there's like 250 pages of this stuff. So pretty much, there's another Hulk there, Wolverine. There's a cool Wolverine one right there. You can check that out. That is awesome. So again, the CG Trader is kind of good. You can find a lot of places and a lot of different models. You can also do commercial sales, and there's royalty free, no AI license. So there's personal use and then there's commercial use. It depends. You have to read the details. Next one we're going to take a look at is STL Finder, and that searches the internet for the major repositories of 3D models and 3D printing. So let's say, let's put Punisher and see what that comes up with. And boom. So we got some little Punisher models. It's okay. It's not as high speed as some of the other ones. Definitely not like CG Trader, or what was the other one? Yeah, CG Trader is pretty good. But yeah, you can still find some good stuff here, some free stuff. Let's put Star Wars and see what happens. See what pops up. Again, we got some different stuff there. Not bad, not bad. I mean, doesn't have the most incredible looking models available, but if you're looking for something on the cheap, and you can find some good stuff that pops out every once in a while that you're like, hey, that's cool. And a lot of this stuff can be free. It shows the website of where it's at, like CG Trader, PinShape. Never even looked at PinShape before. GrabCAD, Colts 3D, that's another excellent one right there. Matter of fact, we'll hit that one up next. Colts 3D. Matter of fact, I don't even know why I don't have that on my list, because Colts 3D is probably it's probably the top site that I use, and all the stuff that's available on here is just pretty incredible. There's just a wide variety of free and paid models that you can find. And so let's throw in Samurai and see what pops up. And of course, it's got advertisements as well. We can see that it's got all kinds of cool articulating samurai, little figure samurais, and then you get some high-end stuff, and some of these things are paid, like the Ahsoka Demon Slayer. So yeah, it's old samurai truck. Come on, let's go. For some reason, it loads slow. I don't know. But yeah, you can find some pretty cool stuff on here as well, and pretty much anything. If you're looking to test out and print on a resin printer or FDM printer, they have free and then on sale free and paid versions of things. So yeah, it's good. It's good. It's got some good stuff on here. Let's see what they got for Warhammer. Just kind of curious. I mean, I've searched this tons of times before, but all types of Warhammer figures. So if you're wondering where A lot of the Warhammer figures that I've printed out in the past all came from Cults 3D, and there's a lot of free versions that you can find. They're from third party. It's not from Warhammer Games Workshop or whatever, but there's independent artists that will make figures and so on and so forth, and so you can get some really cool stuff. Yeah, so Cult 3D is probably a real big one. If you're looking for free and paid versions, you can find some golden nuggets in here. So it's definitely worth checking out. Another one that we have is Autodesk Instructables. Now you might be saying Instructables, that's like, step by step, how to do this or that. Well, if you go up to the search bar and put STL, and they will actually have STL files on here as well. Now, I've been on here a few times. I haven't downloaded anything yet because nothing really just grabbed me by the neck and said, hey, print me. But, yeah, there's a couple things. But, yeah, I guess it just depends on your taste and has more mechanical things, more useful things than miniatures and stuff like that. Excuse me, another one is printables.com. This is from Prusa, and Prusa has a lot of featured models, and they do some pretty cool stuff as well. So Moon Puzzle, that's kind of cool. Look at that. Prusa is a 3D XY printer. Wow, that's kind of cool. That is nice. Look at that. Cool. Assembly required. So yeah, they've got a lot of stuff on here as well, pirate ships and maps, and that's kind of cool. The world map in a low poly version. Just a lot of different little cool stuff. Charizard, Imperial, Great Wave. But you can find some pretty cool stuff, and it's more towards FDM printers. But I've also found some stuff for resin printing that I've printed out, and you got to look at the directions and the fine details to see what you can and can't print on such and such machine. That's kind of cool right there. Picture frame, that's cool. That's kind of sharp. The Star Wars fan would love that. So Printables is another good resource. Now another one here is STLflix.com. This is kind of a strange one because it is 3D files, and they have a number of different items that you can download. It's a subscription fee, and at one time they had a pay one price as they were doing some funding, building funds and doing that, and you could pay one price. I think it was like $200 or $300, and then for a lifetime. But now it's resorted to, like, for personal use, $14 a month, or if you do it per year, a total of $89 is $7.49 a month. I've seen mixed reviews on this. A lot of people say it's really good. 600 STLs and counting, 60 collections. Some people say it's really good. Other people, but they don't allow you to click and see what this stuff is. I wish they would publish more of their stuff, but they don't, which seems really odd. I mean, they just do this stuff here. There's a lot of people that will take this and they will do the commercial subscription. So in other words, you have access to the full library, and you have a license to sell everything that they have on here. And then they also have pictures and stuff like that. So that's kind of a good thing. I almost did it, but I was held back in the fact that I just didn't see a big. I wanted to see more of their catalog before I pulled the trigger. And really, in hindsight, I wish I pulled the trigger because it was like $200-300, have lifetime access forever. Yeah. So anyway, that's still kind of up in the air. As it's a subscription thing, I don't know if that would be worth doing unless it's just kind of, that's kind of weird. But I would say my top one would be Cults 3D. Cults 3 is really good and has a lot of different categories: fashion, art, jewelry, architecture, tools, games, naughties, whatever that is. And then, a lot of functional items, things like that. But I would say probably if I was going to recommend one site, I would say Colts 3D. The next one would be for high-end stuff, I would say Gambody. And then Thingiverse. Thingiverse has some good stuff. My Mini Factory isn't too bad either. And so I'd kind of limit it to around those. So anyway, that's what we end up having, talking about STLs, resin printing, FDM printing, trying to find files to print out because you're dipping your toe into this. And if you're brand new to printing, whether it's FDM or resin printing, especially resin printing, you want to look for pre-supported files. Pre-supported files are files that show, let me see if I can drag something up here to show you what I'm talking about. Pre-supported STL. And I'll kind of show you what we're talking about here. It's kind of good enough. Okay, we'll do that one there. So like what we see here, you can see some pre-supported files, and basically the pre-supported files, what we're talking about. And why am I gone again? Oh, there I am. I'm back. It ends up, there's a pre-supported file. So you have the figure in blue, and then we notice in orange the supports that are used for that file, because you can't just print something out of thin air. There has to be some type of connection to the build plate, and that's why you need supports. Otherwise, it won't print out at all, at least with resin printers. Some FDM printers, depending on the model, they will need supports as well. But with that being said, I would start off with the why is my camera all jacked up? Okay, there we go. I would start off with pre-supported files, because it's usually those pre-supported files, the artist makes the item itself and then they pre-support it and they print it out and test it, so you have a greater chance of that actually printing out on your printer. So yeah, that's what you end up having. So again, I highly suggest using pre-supported files first, and then there's a big kind of a learning curve when it comes to supporting minis that are unsupported, and I'm going through that now. It takes some time to learn, but it's worth it. But eventually there's going to come a place where slicing programs like Lychee and CheetahBox and others are coming out, and they're improving their auto support. And I think there's one was the Autodesk Craft something or other, that their pre-support program is probably the best I have ever seen. The problem is their UltraCraft resin printer is expensive, and then the problem is you have to use their resin, and it's like 2 or 3 or 4 times more expensive than regular resin, than third-party resin. They don't allow third-party resin, and you can't change or add tweaks to the settings for, the light and the retraction time and so on and so forth. That's all, resin jargon talk. That takes some tweaking to learn how to do and get your settings and your resin dialed in good. But their slicer program that they came up with is incredible. And so in other words, it's basically click, support, and print, and it works. So the good thing is that hopefully over time we'll see more companies improve their slicing programs for auto supports, where basically it'll just be print and click, or click and print, and you'll be good to go. So anyway, that is the list of websites that we have, and we'll just do a quick summary. Yagi is a good one, Gambody, Maker's World, and Things, then Ultimaker, Thingiverse, Printables, CG Trader, STL Finder, which is really good, Colts 3D, which is probably the number one I would put. And then there are some on Autodesk Instructables if you do a search for STL files. And then printables, you can find some pretty good stuff on there as well. And then the last one, STLflix.com. Again, it's a subscriber thing. There are no free ones. They have personal and commercial plans. So you're going to pay a monthly fee. I've heard mixed reviews of it. Some people think it's really good. Some people do the commercial and sell the items, so it's worth them doing, and they say it's worth it. Other people say that the files aren't that good, so I'm up in the air on that one. We'll just leave that one out into the wind, and you can make your own decision on that. So yeah, that is what we're looking at today in regards to websites for STL files, whether it's FDM or resin printing, to give you kind of a start as you dip your toe and eventually spend a lot of money in printing stuff and buying hardware and equipment and paints and then all kinds of other stuff and paint booths and airbrushes and yeah, it's a rabbit hole, folks. It's a rabbit hole. So anyway, if you have found a great STL website, put that in the comment section down below. I'd really love to find some more and share those with everybody else as well. Hopefully you can find some good stuff. I found some good stuff on a number of these sites. Some of them are better than others, but hey, it's a resource that you can check and you can find something that you like or, go to another site. All right, that's going to be it for today. So we'll see you on the next video. Take care. Peace. Good stuff. Colts is always a good one.